Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be keeping you company, painting my miniatures while you paint your miniatures live on stream. That's basically it. Hope you have a great time. I hope you've had a great week. I was hoping that since last week's show, and especially talking about trying to get on with a bit more painting during the week, that I'd have more done by this time. I don't. I have nothing. I've done nothing since last week's show. So today, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to finish this miniature tonight. In some ways, it's kind of nice that I haven't done anything and that I'm going to, that I've still got another week of painting the same model, because it's nice to finish something live on the stream. Anyway, if you're new here, you don't know what we're about, please subscribe to the show. Easy 8 is not a tutorial show or anything like that at all. It's literally a place where you can come along, make some friends. We're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram and Discord as well. I'm going to stop waving my hands around like that. I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger. There we go. Please do subscribe, because it's the subscriptions that make the community grow, and it's all about you. It's all about kind of bringing everybody together, painting our stuff together, sharing a passion for the hobby together, basically. So if you know someone out there who you think might benefit from a show like this or a little club like this, bring them along. Bring your kids along. It's a family safe place to be for the next 2 hours live, with a little break in the middle if you haven't seen it before. If you are working on something this evening, I genuinely would like to know, so please come and tell me all about it. Take some photos if you want, stick them up on Facebook. Facebook is there for you, as is Discord, for you to flood with all your pictures, talk about all your successes. Maybe you're struggling with something. I struggle with stuff all the time. The main struggle I have is just taking too long on a project, and often kind of rushing it, messing it up, and just generally not being a great painter. But that's not the point. The point is that we do it together, that we kind of that we share this hobby together, because otherwise it's a bit boring. If you struggle, I've got cat hairs all over my black hoodie. If you struggle to find any time painting during the week like I am lately, just started a new job, we've all got our own lives, then the whole point of the show is for you to kind of target a couple of hours every week for you to come along and just do the thing that you like to do. Shut out the rest of the world, put the dog away, put the cats away. I've got the cats, they're away now, they've been fed. My partner's out the house for a couple of hours. But it's just about me and my hobby, and sharing it with you guys as well. So come and let me know what it is that you're up to. I'd love to know what the projects that you are on. I'm not just saying it to kind of get your interest in it. Who have we got in the live chat this evening? We've got Shiv from Table of Horrors. Greetings all. Hi Shiv, how are you? We've got Adrian. Blessings and peace be upon this place. What a beautiful little sentence. Thank you so much. Hi Adrian, hope you're doing well. Kez, hi all. Keeping it brief and simple. Hi Kez. And my dad Jeff. Oi oi oi. Do you have a fish then, Adrian? I'm wondering if that might be some sort of a Douglas Adams reference. It feels like it might be. Or my dad's just drunk. Huzzah! Consistency! Cleaning the mould lines off the next Battletech minis, ready for priming, says Kes. That sounds absolutely fantastic. I want photos, or it never happened. Stick them up on Facebook if you're over there. If you're not on Facebook, Discord is for you. Links to all of our platforms, by the way, all downstairs. Go and check them out. Tartarus Terminators, says Shiv. Still within the Blood Angels, but changing projects a little bit, because the stuff that you've been putting out lately, Shiv, is absolutely fantastic. I'm loving those chromey chromes, and I'm loving that chromey gold. That is such a phrase. It's absolutely looking fantastic, by the way, mate. Genuinely inspired by all your photos and all your success stories and all your painting stories, so do come and tell us all about it. If you haven't done so already, please just take a couple of seconds out right now just to give this video a thumbs up. I've got a cup of tea here. I'll have a little drink of my tea while you give it a thumbs up. Thanks very much. Really hot, I can't drink it every week, man. Okay, yum. Place, fish, get it. I do now. Shame you had to explain it to me. I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry. I thought it was like a babel fish thing. Anyway, right. Sorry. Yes, if you subscribe, if you chat in the live chat, if you leave comments post the show later on, if you give a video a thumbs up, it all affects the algorithm. All hail the algorithm of YouTube. What we want to do is we want to spread word of it. We want to get it out there in people's feeds, so people can come along and join in this humble gathering of painters, makers, etc., etc. War gamers, you know the drill. Anyway, subscribe. It would make my day if you wouldn't mind. So, this weekend just gone, absolutely cracking time had, because me and some of the Easy 8 team over 2 days, we're a big enough team now that's what happens. We went to PAWS, or Plymouth Amateur Wargamers. Do you know what? Plymouth Associative Wargame. I never ever remember what that. Someone's going to tell me in the live chat now what it actually stands for. But basically, the Wargaming Society in Plymouth. I'm so sorry, PAWS. I can never remember what it means. My memory is like a sieve. But we go there every year. It's just down the road. It's like a couple of hours away for us. It's a nice little drive down. It's very easy. We skidded on the ice in my car. It was very hairy, but we're all okay. So me and my dad Jeff went down there on the Saturday. Kez Staff and Dave, who's often in the live chat but just hits the hearts because he can't type or something like that, they went down on the Sunday. It was busy, which was great. It was small but compact, and it felt like it was an appropriate size for what it was. We met some old faces. I met up with Freddie Terra Firma, absolutely fantastic gentleman, and his wife. We met Colin from Charlie Foxtrot Models in his pal. We met up with Grant and his mate. I think it was it Nick? I'm so sorry, it was Nick from Overlord Games. Great to see you guys again. Absolutely, yeah, just been such a long time since we've actually kind of got together and spoken. It was just nice to kind of catch up. And we met a gentleman called Callum, who's got a new business started up on the scene with Imperator Models. You have to go and check out Imperator Models. I've put a link to them just down there. And do it later. Don't do it now because it's the painting club. It's for you. Go and check them out. Give it 10 minutes during the intermission if you're looking for something to do. But oh my gosh, some of the highest quality resin prints I've ever seen. Just a sterling gentleman, really nice. A young, fresh face in the market, which was great to see. I was there with his mum and possibly partner, or I don't know. I just caught names, but do you know what? It was lovely to see you guys there. Naturally, I spoke about collaborating in the future, doing some of the models that they're printing here on the show, because it was mainly World War II. So it was a lot of the Pacific stuff. There was a little bit of Normandy D-Day there as well. A lot of Soviet things as well. In various scales, so 15mm, 20mm, 28mm, and I could be wrong, but there might be 135th there as well. There was so much. I should have gone there with a notepad and just kind of like taken notes. But honestly, the website is there for you to go and have a look at, and it's not just the same old stuff that you see everywhere. We're talking about all the really weird and wonderful recovery vehicles, Tigers with cranes on them, and Shermans and Lees with cranes. Do you know what? It's just an absolute plethora of fantastically highly detailed, super quality models. And do you know, when I'm making all these things, it is a shame to not put the model together. A big part of the joy of the hobby is, for me, is building the model that I then go on to paint. But I do so many things, and I've got projects backing up or out of the wazoo. I genuinely do, and it's nice to be able to have that high quality option where actually, do you know what, I just want to paint a Tiger, or I just want to paint an M3 Lee, or whatever it's going to be. And 3D printed models obviously provide that for you. So if you're looking for that option, if you just want like a quick easy model, accept no exceptions, these guys are great. Please go and check them out. Just a massive range of models, massive sets if you want, individual things as well. Go and check them out, they're fantastic. My dad bought me a little model, a little 15mm stag hound, which I'm going to show you in a minute, for doing all the driving. I absolutely love it. It's a brilliant little thing. I don't really know an awful lot about armoured cars. It's great. It's a fantastic little model. So yeah, Imperator Models. Callum, if you're watching this right now, mate, it was really great to catch up with you. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you more in the future. I've got a few projects that are probably going to take me a few months right now, but I'd love to be able to reach out, connect with you, spread your links and word of Imperator Models out there a lot more, and just do some cool one-off builds or whatever. I'd love to play 28mm World War II games. It's just about the storage space, isn't it? I already collect 15... Oh, got hiccups again. I collect 15mm World War II stuff because it's a nice, easy, small scale to just kind of put in a box or two. You start collecting lots of other games, it's just lots and lots of storage, right? So it becomes a bit more difficult. But there is that part of my brain that's going, go on, do it, buy 28mm stuff. I've got a few 135th builds as well. So, yeah, my 28mm collection might start soon, and it will certainly start with Callum's enterprises over at Imperator Models. Please go and check him out. An insane range of high quality models. You won't regret it. Really, really affordable as well. Also, Callum has got his own line of paints that he has made and designed himself. I was chatting to Callum about how does one go about making your own paints, because there are people out there that do it. Obviously, Duncan Rhodes in the Painting Academy, makes his own paints. But how does Random Joe go and do it? And he was telling me about the story. Do you know what? I'm not going to tell you a story. That's his story to tell. If you want to find out more about that, get in contact with Callum, or better still, go along and meet him and his team at one of the shows out there. Find out a bit more about it. But the paint range he's got is just really nice. They're airbrush paints. They come in little droppers. I bought 2 of them. I didn't need them, but I was just really, really keen to support a new person out on the market. And he's a gentleman, and I kind of just wanted to do something. I picked out 2 colours that were just like, wow, they are incredible colours, and I'm going to show you those in just a minute. Those paints come from, I think he called it the Steam and Alchemy range, because he's really into steampunk, and he's also made his own game and his own miniatures. There is no end to this guy's talents, and more on that, I think, as the future kind of evolves, there will be more on that coming out there, and I want to be right there at the frontier of that development with him, just spreading the news about his stuff. So yeah, I picked up these paints because the colours are fantastic. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might do like a little gas sands car or something. But they are some stark colours, man. And the best thing is he's got his own miniatures used as a template to kind of as a test for them. So yeah, go and do it. Anyway, what have we got going on over here? Some more comments going on. We've got Brethren Tabletop Wargames. Evening all. Hi mate, how are you? I forgot to mention his name. I went and played a game with Matt from Brethren Tabletop Wargames. I've had his rulebooks sat down here, and I wanted to talk about them on a show for almost a year now, and I just haven't got around to it, and I apologise profusely. And of course what I wanted to do was sit there and have a game with Matt, and he talked me through his game. So Brethren, a skirmish game, is Matt's own game. He's made the rules himself with his partner, I believe is his wife. They had a big game set up that they were playing over the weekend. I played a little skirmish game, Celts versus the Romans. Who do you want to play, Danny? Celts, obviously. So I played Boudicca against the Centurion in his little Roman camp, and I made some very poor decisions early on in the game, and then I won because I lobbed dead person's heads at the Centurion from Boudicca, and my naked guys with spears and genitalia beat the Roman soldiers. Do you know what? It was an absolutely fantastic game. I don't want to kind of go into it too much now because, well, we're here to paint. But I want to do like a little, maybe like a little featurette, separate show thing, just talking you through the rules without giving too much away, because you absolutely should support Matt and Brethren by buying their books. I want to play more of it. I just don't own any sort of ancient melee, because it's all melee stuff. I don't own any of these models. The fact is, I could go and buy a small unit of Romans and a small unit of Celts from various model outlets and paint them up, and then play it on a simple little 4x4 game. We just played around some trees and little tents. That's all you need. Absolutely brilliant little game set. Really keeps you engaged. Keeps the pace moving. And you surprise yourself sometimes by winning. Anyway, hi Matt. I had a great time playing that game. I'm not just saying that to make you feel better about yourself. It was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. And I've been talking about it ever since. So that goes a long way to show you how good it was, wasn't it? Cool. More comments. I still need your Blood Angel's name, Danny, please. Okay, cool. Do you know what? I will work on that this evening. By the end of today, I'll have the Blood Angel's name for you. I don't know why you want that. I still don't think colours are real. They're just pigments of our imagination. I'll just stop it. Yes, I agree with Jeff. Stop it. Fish jokes only, please. Sorry, I spoke out of place. Please don't gill me. It's going to be one of those days. Right. Sipping my tea. I've got my Gryffindor mug. What? Courage, bravery, and determination. Because I'm all 3 of those things. My boss today told me that I'm pragmatic. I had to go and look it up. But I thanked her before I went and looked it up, as I pretended I knew what it meant. Pragmatic. Happy weekend, everybody. Cheers. Shall we just get over this and just go straight to the workbench? Here we go. As Brethren saying, glad you enjoyed it, mate. Yeah, I honestly, I had a great time playing it. I don't think enough people go and play those little test games. When you go to a show, you have a little walk around all the traders, you say hi to a few people. Oh, these are nice models, great. But there's a lot of games being played there. And when I go to Recon in Bradford in December, I take a little set of Water Tanker just so people can come along and engage with us and play with it. And this year we had a few more people playing it than the last, but you rarely see people really engaging with it. And I had a great time. I had a really, really good time. Ironically, looking up the word pragmatic after saying thank you is kind of pragmatic. Is it? Is it? Because when I looked up pragmatic, it told me that it was because I'm not a theorist. I'm a practical person, and I don't. Oh, my whole world's been turned upside down. Anyway, here's my little stag hound. It's so cool, isn't it? So apparently the stag hound is a British scout car for World War II. It has a driver and it has a gunner, and then the gunner obviously kind of sits in a basket under the turret, and the driver sits quite close, I think. And I think from what I was being told, that the driver has a lever on his chair, that if he pulls it, the chair spins around 180 degrees, or allows him to spin around, and then he has a viewport out the back and can drive it almost as fast backwards as he can forwards. I need to look into that, because that's a cool thing that I didn't know. Is that definitely the Stag Hound? Is it a different vehicle? Is it this one? It's quite a big vehicle for a scout car as well. Jeff, my dad, sent me a video of one in the museum, not the one in Dorset. We have another one going into the through the garage doors. Do you know what? It's a beast, absolute beast of an engine. So yeah, I just think it's really, really cool. I've got a Puma here somewhere. I think it's a Puma, which is the German vehicle. Have I got it here? It's in one of these sprues. Oh no, it's not. It's not the Puma. It is this thing, the SD-KSZ 222. I think the Puma is the the 8-wheel one, isn't it? This one obviously is a little model kit to build by Zvezda, but it's quite nice to have like a scout car for the German side and a scout car for the Ally side, right? I quite like that. That's fun. Got so many sprues there. I really need to get on with those. I just need to. Thanks, Dad, for buying that for me. I really like it. I've been very visceral on the dining room table. Yeah, my partner's hated that. Anyway, cool. I really like it. It's really cool. I will do it up as a feature on the show at some point. I really need to hone in on my British colours. I've been doing them as quite dark green. I don't know if I'm happy with that. I need to look into some British colours. I could just do them as like an allied olive green, but I want to be able to differentiate quite easily between my British and my American stuff on the tabletop for the sake of it, you know. So yeah, yet to work on that. Anyway, Jeff says, Brethren, did you let him win? He may have done. I don't think so though. He just ran away. Magpie, Mrs. Brethren here. As much as I love getting credit, Brethren is entirely Matt's creation. I am just the proofreader and a taxi to shows. Wow. Oh, at least you're doing something. More than me. I've got so many ideas of games and stuff in my head. And it's just a whirlwind of like ideas and information. I try to write it all down, and it's just as chaotic as when I put it on paper as when it's in my head. So the fact that you help out and get it out there, or proofread, or drive taxis, is still more than what I do. So do you know what? It's still a great game, and I had a great time playing it. So thanks for inviting me over and having a go, Jeff. I wish I did. Fact is, most people are better than me at my own game. Oh, it was so cool. There were a few like systems in there that, you know, one would be familiar with, like morale and things like that. If you play 40k, you're kind of familiar with that. The leadership test worked, you know, in a very similar way. But the game just had pace. It was punchy. 40k by comparison is alternating turns, so side by side. So you move all your models, shoot with them, chop. You know, you go and choppy at the same time, and then the other side gets to do it. And that means that there's often half an hour of you just sitting there watching your models be removed from the table without being able to react. And I hate that. And 40k is the only game that I play or even know of that does that still, and I just don't know. Even all the other Games Workshop games don't do that anymore. I just question it, like, why are you doing that? Like, is it some sort of nostalgic hold on to something from the past? Like, forget it. It doesn't work. Do a unit by unit thing. Have certain units that allow activation of other units. Have abilities that, you know, allow group activations. Whatever, man. Just stop it with the side by side. It's just laborious. rant over. This is my Raven. I'm so close to finishing it. I was at a point last week where I think I was about to rush it. I did a few things right at the end of the show, and that is I put some little effects in there, just identifying where I wanted to put some effects. You could see a little bit of blue inside the barrels. You can see a little bit of white on this, what is a narc, yeah. And you can also see a little bit of red just inside this box here. I don't really care about that so much. I just wanted something in there just to kind of tart it up a little bit, something that is different from all of the colours all over it. Because I managed to get the brightness or the luminosity of the blue that I was spraying on, it made it stand out more than the grey and the turquoise, and it was quite poignant looking at it, and I was a little bit upset about it because I wanted the turquoise to stand out as much as the grey. If I was to go back and redo all the turquoise, I'm basically starting the model from halfway through all over again, and I just don't want to do that. I've been painting this model for what feels like a million years now. So what I did very carefully at the end is I got a little bit of basilicon and grey wash, that's right, 50-50 with water, and I very, very carefully applied it over all of the blue bits. And what it's done is it's dulled those blue bits down at an appropriate level that makes it match in with the rest of it. Now in some places that turquoise could still be a bit brighter, but it stopped that blue being so punchy because it was quite an assault on the senses, frankly, and it's made it look really, really good. It could be a little bit better. It could be a bit neater, but it was an afterthought. It was trying to save it a little bit. Yay for me. What have I got to do today? I've got to try and patch up a little bit of the silver on the back over here. There's probably a couple of places where the silver could be brought back up a little bit. Easy. I'm going to do the cockpit. I could do a lot more inside the actual guns here. I could actually do an OSL effect on the inside. It's at a scale where it's not going to really benefit it in any way, shape or form. I could do something more with the narc in there. I kind of wanted it to pop, with a white. So I'm quite happy for it to be like that. The red looks like, when I was a kid, I've got some red lenses, I'll just pop some red in there. But frankly, again, at this scale, it's just something that you can see from 3 feet away or further. It just looks like I've done something to it, and I'm happy with that. What I really want to do is sort out this cockpit. I started to play around with it last week, and I messed it up royally, and I actually had the wherewithal to stop, because it was one of those things where I was going to rush it. I've got a cat hair in my nose. There we go. So I'm going to start the cockpit all over again. It's not a hard process. I've just got to whack some orange in there. Orange has got a really low pigment rate. So I've got some oranges that I've not tried before that I'm really looking forward to do. So I'm going to pop some oranges on there. And I'm going to try and make it look like it's a little bit brighter in the middle, a little bit darker around the outside, just to give it some sort of depth, because there is supposed to be a depth with the cockpits. And then I've been thinking about maybe outlining it with some black, and I thought actually I could outline all the silver and the grey. That might turn out to be a bit of a mission, but there might be some areas where I want to outline or define things a bit more. And rather than using an acrylic, which could spread out a little bit and fade out, maybe even leave some tea staining, I've actually got some black oil paint if I have enough time later on. What I want to do is just kind of get stuck in. I'm just going to paint up that silver, get that cockpit done, and then effectively I could just whack a matte varnish all over it, and I am done. Cool, right? We've got a couple more people that have joined in, or is it just Steve? Steve Jenkins has joined. Greetings, my sexy brethren. Hi, Steve. Thanks so much. I've had a day of compliments today. It's been quite nice. Hi, Steve. I am the sexy brethren. And how? Everybody drink. It's not an Irish tea. It's just caffeine. There'll be grown-up juice in the second half. Way ahead of you, my brother from another father. Raven is looking sweet. Love that it has a narc on it. This is exactly the mech that I use in the game that you and I play. So there you go. For those of you that want to know, Steve and I both play MechWarrior Online, and this is the mech that I use. I go and spot targets for Steve. Steve goes and destroys them for me. Simples, right? Anyway, let's put those legs over. I am thinking about chopping the top 2mm of this peg off because, as I've said before, when you put the thing on, look, it's a little bit rocky. Like, I think it should sit down a bit more, maybe. I don't know. Right. So, oranges. I've got a selection of oranges that I could use here. Look, I've got these two oranges. Well, oh, hello. These two oranges are what I was using last week. One was darker, one was lighter, so I could use that effect. and they didn't work very well. Also, they have the weakest pigment I have ever encountered in my entire life in paints, and that includes all of the old yellows from the days of old in Games Workshop. Beautiful colours if you spray them on, and if you spray them on the right background colour. Otherwise, they're completely rubbish. So, I'm not going to use those. I had that problem when I was painting my Skitari units, which are all orange. I sprayed them all silver because I wanted all the silver components to be sprayed, and then trying to paint that, it was just terrible. Anyway, in response to that, I needed something that had a higher pigment count, so I went to Duncan Road's Painting Academy and bought the 2 thin coats Rust Orange. And while the orange is a little bit out of the, I use this dark one here, while it's not quite the same colour, it meant that I could put down a good orange base and paint that one over the top. On the hunt for better oranges yet, one that I have not tried just yet is Molten Lava by the War Paints Fanatic range from Army Painter. I bought this one from Grant last year. I just haven't got around to using it because I've not done any orange. So I'm going to base this orange bit with this orange bit and see what bits I need to do afterwards. That's that, really. Kez says, so the Raven has 2 medium lasers on its right arm. They are normally depicted in a green colour, if you care about that. I do. The reason I did it blue is because when you're in the mech bay, Mech Warrior Online, you look inside and it looks like that the inside of the lasers are blue. I know when they fire their beam, they're green, but yeah. If you think that it should be green, tell me now, because I've got some greens, man, right here. Brethren says, you could find a magnet that fits in the hole rather than cutting it down. There are so many comebacks, I want to hear them, Steve. Please keep it clean. You can find a magnet that fits in the hole rather than cutting it down. I could. It's not that that it doesn't. The magnetism isn't the problem, really. It's more that the peg is almost like a millimetre too tall. So when you put it on there, he looks like a bobblehead. When he's kind of turning around, he's a little bit rocky. Look, watch. Because I think he stands up a bit too high. But ultimately, am I worried about it? If I was to put a magnet in there, the magnet would obviously have some thickness, so it'd end up sticking up. So I'd have to like cut a groove to... Yeah, you know what I mean. Shaky, shaky. Oh, it's got a rattler in there. Love that. I'm really excited to use this paint. I haven't used any Fanatic. Threw it on the floor. I haven't used any Fanatic range paints yet, so I'm really excited to do this one. Staffer's joined us. Hiya, I made it. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well, pal. Saying that I haven't used any Fanatic paints yet, when I went and met Grant at the weekend, I also bought the Fanatic Sepia tone, I bought the Magenta tone, and I also bought for a laugh Power Node Glow because I want to do some synthwave stuff with it later on. So I've got some Fanatics now. Looks like it's very close to the Duncan Rhodes paint. I'm really interested in just how it covers more than anything. Like its pigment. And Fanatic is supposed to be almost a solution to one coat painting. If it needs 2 or 3, that's fine, but orange normally needs about 117,000. So we'll see how that goes. A damp brush. Move my microphone a little bit. Here we go. It's a little bit rocky, so it's playing Eye of the Tiger on low volume. Yeah, always. Probably could do a smaller brush. That's quite a small cockpit window, isn't it? Tiny brush then. I like the sort of colour of that. It's just not very good at the moment. I put some black wash in there to try and, well, it's actually Nuln Oil to try and outline the edges of the thing, and it just didn't work, basically. Very hard to tell about the performance of this paint using it in such a small area, but it does look like it's going in quite smoothly. It does look like it's got a strong pigmentation in there, which is good. Actually quite a nice colour orange. I'm going to have to try and water it down quite a bit, I think, because the area is so small. The paint's too thick for that area. Kes says, small cockpit window compared to what I'm normally painting is bloody huge. Yeah, your mechs are smaller, right? So, Kes, you said earlier that you're now trimming off all the mold lines for your next set of mechs. What house or unit are you doing next, and what have you just completed? You're going through all of the different houses. Are you moving into the world of mercenaries next? Have you done all the big houses? Paint's gone on a bit thick there. It's left a bit of texture, which I'm quite keen to try and remove. So just add a little bit of water to it. Agitate it. Flattens out a little. I'm going to be honest with you, for this scale I quite like that effect, to be honest. It's still got the black from the Nuln Oil around it. And it serves its purpose. It looks alright, really. I don't know why we're talking about sniffing staff, but yeah. Thanks, live chat. Cheers. Actually able to use the Nuln Oil that was already there as an outline for it, so it's kind of done a lot of that shading work for me just by being very careful, which is nice. Got a little bit of the paint on the back of my hand there. It's a bit of an easy go-to palette. Paint's so thick it doesn't want to come off the brush. Add a bit more water, there we go. Let's saturate the bristles in paint. There we go. Struggling to get any colour in there. might just leave it like that. I might see if I can put a bit of oil wash in there around the outside, just to kind of clearly define the cockpit area. But otherwise, I might, yeah, just leave it. I was going to try and put like different shades to make it look like there was some depth to the lighting in there. Colour makes it stand out on its own. It doesn't need anything more. Know when enough is enough. It's like one of my big struggles in miniature painting. Know when enough is enough. So, at this distance, at that scale, it stands out enough. It says there's a cockpit. It's got an orange light in it. Don't need to know more. But I would like to give the oil. So, just here, I've got another palette. I use this one for oil paints. I've got a plastic one there for acrylics, just because I think it's nice to keep the two. It does have a load of cat fur on it, so let's get rid of that. Pop that there. Got a new thing of thinner right here. Brilliant. Bought that when I went to Recon. Thank you. Got that from Brooks Models. Thanks, Brooks Models. And I'm going to want some black paint. Just here in this, I've got some Winsor & Newton black oil. Now, I was playing around with oil paints a little while ago, trying to make my, make my own little wash. And it just wasn't working. It was just too strong. And I think, having watched other people make it, that the whole point is to really have loads of thinner and a tiny amount of paint. That's where I was kind of starting with a big lump of paint and then thinning it down. I don't think I was ever getting to the consistency that I needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna got some dirty thinner here. Just get a little cotton bud or something. Like that. Get a bit of dirty thinner and just clean out one of these little troughs so I don't kind of taint the colours, because as soon as I put thinner in that, it might agitate it. I'm going to use some dirty just for now because got it there. I clean my brushes out in it sometimes. You know what? I'm not going to be that. Use clean stuff. Get rid of the old stuff. Stop being a skank. Oh, broke the seal. First time. Gosh. Of course, if nothing's coming out of it, it means that it's pretty clean to put paint in there. But I want to get a really, really clean spot because I'm going to be mixing a paint essentially, and I want to make sure that nothing really gets in there. I don't want to taint the colour. I don't want it to be a brownie mix. I want it to be black. That could be an acrylic colour. Who knows? Thinner isn't agitating it at all. It is absolutely an acrylic colour. Right, okay. Put that over there. So, little pipette. I will drop in a couple of drops thinner there. Do that before I knock it over. Not going to fit in there. Okay, and then I'll get some of this black paint. Really want to get more into oil paints. I'm always quite nervous to do that. It'd be quite nice to having an oil paint palette regular. Trying to find a decent brush to mix it up. Don't want to use my expensive Kolinsky brushes to start mixing. Let's find a cheap. That one. There we go. That might be too much. From the videos that I've been watching to kind of get inspiration and tutelage from, that might be a bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smear a big old lump of it over there. I'm just going to pick up a tiny amount of it and I'm just going to add that in. And now what I've got is a really, really runny colour, but the oil colour is really, really strong, really potent. It's just going to be a super runny paint, so I'll add a bit more to it. And that should be enough. Now, what I'm going to try and do is is try to do that panel line thing where you kind of just touch the edge of it and it runs around the outside of whatever it is I'm trying to highlight. But it might not be an effective method for this particular part of the model. So if it doesn't work, what I can do is I've got a big lump of solid paint here which I can add a little bit of thinner to and just like do it by hand, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give this a go and see where it gets me. That has been mixed now, so I'm just going to put that brush over here. My sleeves up. A bit unusual. Right. Some other comments going in. I know I'm not a modeller, but I would just coat that in a satin lacquer and call it a job. There is a part of me that wants to do it. I'm not going to use satin lacquer. I'm not going to use lacquer. I'm going to use a matte varnish, and it's basically what I'm going to do. So once I kind of got this bit done, I'm pretty much doing that. Yeah. If I'm honest, what's happening here is almost exactly the same as with the Nuln oil. Kind of running a little bit of riot in there. But I quite like the shading it provides. But the best thing about an oil paint is I can go in and agitate it with some thinner, clean thinner in a minute. And it, I can remove parts of it. So if the whole window essentially kind of gets filled up with this black oil paint, so I can go in and clean up the middle of it and make it look colour clean. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I just blabber on, you know. You know. So it's almost like I can be quite cavalier with it. Just chuck a load of it in. And then go in and just sort of clean up the crime scene. That window there being bigger, a bit easier to do this technique with. Also, because this is a 3D printed model, there are lines to the print, and the paint's thin enough that it will run away in a capillary action, much like doing the outline. Will run away into those grooves, so I'm going to have to go back in and neaten it up in a minute anyway. But that'll be very, very quick. I really like it. go. Right, I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. Kez, what do you think about the blue lasers? Do you think that they should go green, or is a little blue sort of mirror-like finish in there acceptable? Like I say, I've only done that because that's how it appears in the mech bay in Mech Warrior Online. When you're kind of looking at the ends of the gun, you can, or the barrels, you can see the like there's a kind of a weird bluey glow in there. Being a medium laser, it shoots green beams. Should I change it to green? Yeah, you be the governor on that. You tell me what should I do. Got a little bit of paint left in the bristles here, so I'm just going to use the majority of that thinner there, because it isn't really mostly paint, it's just thinner. Try and clean the brush out a little bit. Get rid of that. Go. Now, like I said, I could go around all of the silver and kind of make the silver stand, especially on the legs down here. It's quite hard really to determine where silver isn't grey, but I think it's going to end up looking a little bit comic-y, a little bit comic book, and I don't want that really. So I'm going to make the decision to not. Thirdly, there we go. Rightio. And now I've got some oil paint sat there. It's going to be ages before that gets safe home for that sit. Very much. Right, so I need to basically let that dry, come back in with a bit of clean thinner and just neaten up those windows a little bit. Actually a little bit bolder on this side, isn't it? Maybe I'll come in. Maybe I will. Because he can't leave it alone. Ugh. Just do it a little bit bolder on this side. That is better, isn't it? Okay. Righto, there we go. Let's call that a day. Kez says, from what I have seen, you are meant to gloss the area you're putting the oil wash into. Yeah, that is one of the things you can do. It helps smooth out that surface. It was just such a small area. I just thought it's a process that I could probably just avoid. I can go in there with a bit of thinner, just kind of clean it up. I won't go in there saturated thinner, because again that will just kind of run in there and it will make the colour explode all over the place rather than clean it up. But what I could do is just ever so slight amount, just kind of pick it out with a thin brush. Yeah. If I was doing a larger surface, if I was doing like anything for the sort of size of my thumbnail higher, then yeah, I would have glossed it for sure. Jonesing for a coffee? Are you? Am I jonesing for a coffee? Am I? No. You guys are so chatty now, it's really hard to keep up the live chat. I'm kind of coming halfway into a conversation and just making myself look stupid. Adrian says, let the orange dry fully, then drop a spot of water in there. Let that almost dry when your basilicon and grey wash in the water in the corners. Should capillary reaction go to the corners? Yeah, I tried that. And it may have just been like, it was at the end of the evening, I was getting tired and I was rushing a little bit. It just didn't work so well. I think it's because the detail is so small, it's actually quite a shallow recess, so there isn't quite the defined corner, so to speak, for it to run into. It didn't behave the way that I was hoping it would. Acrylics behave quite differently than an oil, and an oil also cleans up a little bit better, so I thought that's what I'd do. I just kind of wanted that colour just to pop a little bit, because essentially the cockpit on a mech, it's the face, isn't it? And whether it's a helmeted face or an unhelmeted face on a character, like a humanoid character, you want to draw some sort of attention to the face because, well, we're humans and that's what we do. So I wanted to make sure that the cockpit kind of stood out a little bit more. It's the eyes, isn't it, essentially? So, yeah. Crumbs has joined us. Hi, Crumbs. Hope you're doing well, pal. Kez is saying, I was under the impression the gloss stops you from taking the paint off when cleaning it up. It does a little bit. Oil-based thinners aren't going to really mess around with acrylic layers, and acrylic-based stuff isn't going to affect. So two different worlds, they won't affect each other. I have agitated an acrylic surface with oil paints before because I was too rough with the brush, and the acrylic layer was so thin, like I'd airbrushed it on, and it agitated it off that way. But the actual chemical of thinners, etc., won't affect a water-based paint, and a water-based element won't affect an oil-based area. Does that make sense? The two won't conflict as long as they're dry, as long as they're sturdy and sprayed on, protected, etc. So the gloss isn't necessarily there to protect it. It will provide a little bit of protection. It's there to provide a smooth surface. If you imagine this on a almost microscopic or a macroscopic level, the paint is going to try and adhere to recesses or edges of things. It won't necessarily want to sit on flat areas. It wants to kind of run away from it because the surface tension of whatever you're painting on draws it away. It wants to cling to itself and pull away from those surface areas, which is why it runs into corners. If on a microscopic level you've got lots of little recesses, it wants to kind of cling to those areas. Now those areas might be really small, so you might end up with random pooling in flatter areas. But if you apply a layer of gloss, what that does essentially is it fills all those microscopic dips in, and it creates a nice smooth surface for you to put it on, to apply things to, which means you get smoother definition in the areas where you want it to go to. Also a little bit easier to clean up because it's smoother, basically. Also really good for putting on decals for exactly the same reason, just the smoother surface to put it on. Does that make sense? I always say that this isn't a tutorial show, but I have learned things along the way, and if you're learning things, good, cool, good for you. Also, if I'm wrong and you absolutely know, please do call me out, but be nice, just tell me the right way of doing it. And I will stop spitting across my workbench, because that's gross, right? Shiv says it offers some protection, but White Spirit doesn't really work to remove acrylics. Yeah, exactly that. Crumb says I ventured into Threads and the alternative to X. I can honestly say, what a cesspool. Yeah, what a way to change the conversation. Yeah. So those of you that don't know, Threads is the Twitter of Instagram. Avoid it unless you want to see boobies. Everyone's going to go to Threads now. I'm going to lose my entire view account. Yeah. It did not improve my Instagram workflow at all. So, look, I've chatted a little bit at the beginning of the show. It took me a minute to get started. I'm only doing a few bits and pieces. We are at that time now where we're going to go for a quick break. So, yeah. Let's go for a quick break. When I come back, literally, I can count on one hand what I'm going to do. 3 things. I'm going to neaten up those windows with a little bit of clean thinner. It'll take me just a minute or two. I'm going to patch up the silver. There's a big patch here that I want to clean up. And there's little bits of overspray that I want to do as well. So they're going to go. And then I'm going to varnish it. And then it's done. I would love to build a base for it. In the scale of a 15mm thing, put a hex base on it. But I've said already, haven't I, that I'm going to revisit this model in the future because there's a few things that I want to do to kind of improve it. I'm just happy that I'm there. I've been wanting to do a mech for a long time because I know that Kez is really into BattleTech and really wants me to do something. So thanks, Kez, for making the model for me. I really appreciate it. I've really, really enjoyed this model. It's been good. It's been such a different thing to do. Anyway, look, I'm just getting emotional now. A couple of last comments going in. Staff says, I joined Threads. It's literally full of women leaving little to the imagination and links to OnlyFans. Gotta be honest, I think a link I would have never made. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, I get that. I get the joke. Okay, cool. Nobody here enjoys the coffee like I do. No, I'm going to go and get myself a grown-up juice. So, yeah, if you want to join me in the hardcore drinks, I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Until then, bye! Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. I went and got myself some Raker. So, yeah. I've also been sat here just cleaning up those little bits that I was saying. It's cleaned up so quickly that I can move straight on to the silver bits and get this thing sprayed up, varnished, and I think I'm going to be finished well before the end of the show, which is really unusual. So yay for me, really. Anyway, I just thought I'd go and grab myself a fresh drink. I just went to go see the cats as well because they've been left unattended downstairs, and if you know my cats, never leave them unattended. But it is the weekend. Happy Friday. We're in the second half of the show. If you've got yourself a grown-up juice, or if you've just got yourself a sensible one, drink responsibly, kids. Cheers. Happy Friday. Happy weekend, everybody. It's February already, right? It's just this year is going. I sound so old, but it's going faster and faster every year. That is a nice drink. I decided to go for the Raker vodka, not the 43. The 43 is just very, very sweet. And right now, I just need something a bit more mellow, a little bit more a bit punchier. What is Raker? It is an Icelandic vodka. Two-mind vodka. I find vodka can be quite harsh on its own if you're drinking it neat. I tried mixing Coke with 43 last week, and that was just too much. 43 is a nice little vanilla liquor all on its own, but my God, is it harsh? It's really sweet and really punchy. I didn't need that level of emotion this evening. Anyway, look, if you're just joining us, if you are new here for Easy 8, you don't know what it's all about. It's literally just a club where you can come along, paint your miniatures along with me for 2 hours live, make some friends over there in the live chat. If you're watching it back on the replay like John does from the States, then you can just join in the comments or whatever. But please do subscribe if you like the show. It is the subscribers that make the community grow. It's here for you. It's here for the community. You can share your stories. You can share your little journeys while you're painting. If maybe you're like succeeding and you want to show a little story of success, maybe you're really struggling and you want to get some advice and kind of just have people go, oh, they're there, like I often do. Oh, that's hit the bottom quite hard. This is absolutely the place for you. If you think you know someone who might benefit from a show like this, bring them along. It's kid-friendly, even though in the second half we do drink. Don't worry, Stafford, I know that I'm the taxi tomorrow. This is the only one that I'm having. Well, I'm going to have another because in a can I get two. But yeah, I haven't been drunk for a little while. A couple of weeks ago. It's all good. Press the like button. Do as Steve says. Press the like button. Oh, John's joined us. Talking of John from the States. Hi all. Stopping by to say hello. Hope you're all well. John. Hi John. Thanks for coming in. I got a message from John just the other day saying, I really like the idea of your painting sheets. So I've stolen the idea and done my own. What he's referring to is little bits of paper that I printed out Easy Online Painting Club on. And I use them to put over my painting area when I'm spraying with well, with anything, I suppose, but mostly with the airbrush. So I'm not one of those guys that sprays, gets all the painting mat or the cutting mat completely covered in paint. I like to keep it nice and clean. And it's just also a nice way of showing the brand off under the camera. John's looks really, really neat and tidy. So yeah, glad I inspired you for something so simple. Crumb says, am I the only one who is not a fan of shaved coconut and crystallized ginger in their Bombay mix? Wow, that is an off-piste comment, but no, you're absolutely right. I'm not a big fan of ginger flavour. I'm not really a fan of crystallised ginger in my Bombay mix. You're absolutely right. I'm a Twiglets guy. Oh, why? Love Marmite flavour, but Twiglets are awful. So put them down. Stop it. We can't be friends until you do. Subscribe. It would make my day. Hit the like button, please. Do as Steve says. Cheers then. Let's not dilly-dally around. Let's go straight over to the workbench. Here we go. So yeah, here is the mech. I have just cleaned up those windows. It's left quite a bold border of black around the outside. Up close it's a bit untidy, but from this distance it is fine, and that is where it's going to be viewed from. I'm not going to worry about shading that orange. It's too small an area. It is literally like 3 by 4 millimeters on the front, and that's the largest part. The black on there does make it gives it some sort of focal depth, but I don't even know if I'm using the term focal depth right. Probably not at all. It looks like there's depth in there. Also, where the orange has gone on, it hasn't gone on evenly all over, so it does kind of give you that illusion. Who cares? Orange is on the cockpit window. It's done. I've cleaned it up, so now I'm going to get some silver and neaten up those silver areas. That's what I'm going to do. Oh yes it is. Where is my silver? There it is. Got it. Mike Tanner has joined us. Hola! Twiglets induced PTSD from that one time I dated a ginger. Are you combining both the ginger comment and the Twiglets thing? Wow, this is what an evening. This is getting to the point now where I'm going to have to stop just ignoring the live chat and just let you guys talk it out, I think. It's just getting a little bit weird. Right. Kez, I don't know if I've missed the comment or if you just haven't replied, but what do you think about green and the lasers? Is blue okay, or should I do green? If I do green, is it going to be too many colours on there? Got a runny nose. That was gross. Right. To the silver. Here we go. So, really, what I'm looking at here is mostly neatening up this little bit here. Because when I was spraying on the camo pattern, the only way I could really get the paper in there, the masking tape paper, was just to spray over this frame. And it's such an easy, quick fix. And frankly, because the silver's been dulled off a little bit by the wash, and that blended away into the grey a little bit, I'm quite happy just to, as I am right now, just go over all of that silver frame with a fresh layer of silver just to make it pop, pop, pop. Name that film. Pop, pop, pop. Sugar Puffs in the rain. Think I'm a bit too sober to follow this chat. Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. It's getting a little bit out there, isn't it? Got just a tiny amount of silver in the bristles there, just literally a tiny amount. And some of these silver details on the back of the mech here, they've blended away a little bit with all the washes and the spraying or whatever. So just taking the opportunity to almost dry brush them, right? Not a dry brush. I shouldn't be dry brushing at all with this brush. Let's just try and pick those details out and again make them pop. Now there are these two little efforts here. Maybe they're heat sinks, maybe they're just shields, maybe they've got some stuff inside them. But I decided there was a lot of grey and blue and turquoise. So I wanted a bit of silver in there. I painted them silver. There is a lot of overspray. So, yeah, you guessed it. I'm going to go in, hit it with some silver. Redefine those as metally areas. Bing, bang, bong. Are they supposed to have a bit of basilicanum grey wash over them? Yes. Can you see that it needs it because it hasn't got it? No. Do I need to waste my time doing it? Absolutely not. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that live chat alone. It's weird now. Cat hair, got it. Okay, and there's only one little bit left now that's got a bit of overspray in it that I can see vividly, and that is the front of the SRMs, the short-range missiles, the launcher for them. Right here, this is an SRM-6. It's got 6 missiles that fire simultaneously, short-range, high damage, unguided, I believe. We've got a little bit of turquoise overspray up in the top corner there. And the washers have also kind of dulled it down a little bit, so I'm going to go in, re-establish a silver on the front there, make it pop a little bit. It is a weapon after all. Now, in the video game, I don't use them because I load it out with all the electronic countermeasures, really, and there's not enough tonnage or internal space for it, so I forgo them for other things. But on the tabletop, you get all of the things, basically, so yeah. Steve says, no missiles in the rack. No, nothing sticking out there. I don't know why that is. I've never seen missiles sticking out on a SRM launcher. Maybe it is they're just supposed to be kind of like kept inside and then shoot out. I could like model them quite easily. I suppose I could get even like little cocktail stick points. Can I just pop them in there or something like that? If I wanted to, I could. Love that. Again, just a little bit of almost dry brushing some of these silvery areas. There we go. Now I'm just going to scroll up because I was talking to Kez a second ago and Kez didn't reply. Maybe Kez is away from the laptop, maybe not hearing. Just wondered if you think green is a good idea to put on the inside of the lasers in there. But otherwise, I think we're all done. I've just got to get those little steps on the front of the cockpit now. So I've got one here. Make sure that I'm actually in the camera. Get a bit of water in there. That's my concentration voice. Woo! There we are. I'm done. I'm done. Quick look over all of it. Well, I've got the silver out. I'm happy. Let's call it. Right, wash this brush up. Ace. Right, so the next thing now really is to varnish him. So let's get that sorted out. Let's put these paints away a second. I've got a couple of varnish options. I normally use these little 17ml pots that came with a big paint set that I've got. So my matte varnish is running out. You can see I've got it upside down. There's a tiny bit left in there. So when I went to Recon, I bought the Vallejo Ultra Matte Polyurethane Varnish. This is supposed to be like super anti-shine, which is exactly how I like my models to be on the general. I put this on over his base coat to kind of protect the base coat when it went on while I was handling it, the primer coat, and it went quite shiny, and I don't know why that is. I wonder if I need to mix it down with thinner, whether I need to apply it more gently, maybe I need to apply it thicker. I don't know what I did. I've read all the instructions on here. I was using it absolutely right. So I'm going to apply this, and it might dry glossy. So I need to evaluate how I use this. You can see it's cost me £8.30 from Bow and Blade Games. Thank you, Bow and Blade. Yeah, so I'm going to hit it with this, and then if it is like super glossy or glossy in any way, shape or form, I don't want it to be, I've got a little bit of matte left in here to kind of take away that shine. Yeah, I might put a little bit of semi-gloss in the cockpit. We'll see what happens. Jenkins says, well, they're probably medium lasers, so I would say yes. Normally I would agree, but I'm not driving to Boven up on tomorrow. Oh, I think I'm catching on two conversations there. So yeah, all right. So Steve there is saying that because the medium lasers shoot green, it might be worth putting green in the lasers. Again, the only reason I did that is because when you're in the mech bay, if you like rotate the view, the angle of view, you can see inside the bows, they have like a very, very slight bluish tint to them. So I did that. But you're right. The community has spoken. Get some green in there. So I need a little bit of white. I will use some white ink, maybe? I will use some white ink. Give that a shake. Got a little dropper in this one. I'm going to put one drop of white ink in there, and then I'm going to thin that right down, so literally like the oil paint, could kind of just drop it in, and it will run wild in there. It's really opaque, so with one dropper should be able to create a blanket white effect. So let's get some thinner. Here it is. Two big drops of thinner in there. That up. Excellent. I've got an oily mix over my paint water now, so I've got to make sure I give all my brushes a really good clean. Definitely change my paint water at the end of this show because I've got a little bit of oil separation. Bit gross. Pulse lasers are good, but I think I prefer the range of normal lasers unless the mech has jump jets and pulse. Oh, okay, cool. Answer all their questions, but not mine. Right. I jest, of course. Here we go. So, get a bit of white ink on the end of my tiny little brush here. It's probably a bit too much. Right. Could be a bit thinner, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a drop of clean thinner just on the side of the palette there, pick that up on my brush, and I'm just going to drop that straight into where that ink is. I've actually agitated something on the palette. Ah, things were going so well. Right, get the Dry-O-Matic on this subject. Let's sort this out. Stay there, brush. Running away. Stay. Where I put the clean thinner down on the palette, it seemed to agitate like a grey colour that was there. So, yeah, that was useful. Don't even know what that was. Right, let's leave that to dry. Come back for that. One little thing like that could ruin the flow of everything right now. So, need to get the airbrush. Hello. Hopefully you can hear me now. My microphone has done that weird thing where it just decides it's going to stop functioning. I do have a little... I can just unplug it, plug it back in, but it's a little bit out of reach at the moment. So, yeah. So for now, you're going to be on my headset, where I know it's a bit tinny, but it's a good backup nonetheless. It means I can move that out of the way. I'm so sorry. These things happen sometimes. I don't know why it does that. It's only started doing it recently as well, hasn't it? Anyway, look. I've just got to clean out some of this paint that's inside here. So... yeah, it's because last week we were going to the Plymouth show, and I just wanted an early finish while I was in the studio. So I didn't give the airbrush a very good clean out at all. So, ever so quickly, all I need to do is run thinner and varnish through the airbrush. So... it's not like I've got to worry about like spatter of colour or anything like that. I still want to make sure that it comes through the airbrush nice and smoothly though. So just giving it a bit of a clean out. Yeah, you can see colour in there inside the gasket as well. It's all plugged up on the needle. Gross. Scrub that down. It comes off really easy when you've got a bit of thinner on there. This is mixed down 50-50 thinner as well, 50-50 with water. It just makes your thinner go that extra mile. There's no need really to use totally neat thinner. Sometimes I'll drop a little bit in after a heavy session of painting, or using varnish just afterwards, just a quick run through with it. Other than that, there's no need. Lovely. Nozzle is stuck in there quite tight. Oh, now we're really starting to see where all the clogs happen, aren't we? So this is all backflow, this is all overflow from the paint chamber. When it gets pulled through with airflow through to the nozzle, it backflows. And this is where you get little blockages on the inside and the outside of this particular piece here. Now I can see inside the nozzle quite clearly. It looks like it's clear enough for this little project. So I'm just trying to give it as best a quick cleanup as possible. And then we're going to move on. Oh, I fired and forgot with this. Clogs, mostly in Holland, surely. Very funny. Never understood clogs, you know. Gotta be for walking on some particular surface type, right? Or dancing. Or just behaving stupidly. Okie dokie. Right, I'm bored of cleaning. I just want to varnish this thing. Literally just want to varnish. I can't screw anything back together again. Cool. Trigger back in. This needs a really good clean out, and I really need to get in the habit of cleaning it after every show, and I know I'm terrible for that. I told you, didn't I? Warts and all. Unscripted show. Okay, mechanism works. Give this a bit of a clean out in there. Let's just get you in there. Excellent. Get the airline on it. Oh, I'll put the back on it as well. There we go. Hopefully should be some airflow in there. Some airflow. Sounds pretty uninterrupted, but that doesn't mean anything really. A little bit of cleaner water mix just to flush anything through. Put that to a side. Now that is as thin as any liquid's going to get when it's going through there, so that seems to be coming okay. But if you put paint or varnish in there, that's going to be thicker, obviously. But it doesn't sound like there's any spattery sounds, so... Sam's joined us! Hi Sam! Nice to see your name in there again, mate. Greetings Sam, like the video! Steve has literally become the governor of all things liking. Thanks Steve. Has that thinner in there dried yet? Needs a bit of agitating maybe. I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer again, why not? Sorry, it's not a hairdryer, it's a Drymatic. It's really hot on the hands. Okay, cool. Going to come back to that again in a second. I've put my paint sheet down. You can't really see the logo on it anymore, but I put my paint sheet down because I'm obviously going to be spraying. And I'm just going to be using polyurethane ultra matte stuff. Varnish. Cool. I'm also going to be putting a bit of thinner in there. Do I need to put a bit of thinner in? How thick is this stuff? Meh. I'm just gonna do it without the thinner. Let's see what happens. Flow test. It flows okay. Let's just spray and see what happens. Don't be scared of it, Danny. Branded Drymatic. You're absolutely right. It is a branded Drymatic. So, got to start on the legs. There we go. A good place to start. So a twofold attack here with the varnish. The first being a protective layer. The second being that it reduces any shine whatsoever. I would like this model to be ultra matte, hence the ultra matte varnish. Simples, really, isn't it? So even if this comes out glossy, because like I said, that initial test run I did with it was glossy, it's going to create a protective layer, and then I can go over it with the last little bit of matte varnish that I've got somewhere. Next leg. Now I think that this part of it is going to be quite slow because I just want to be layering and layering. I think, and I think that's where I went wrong with the test layer of this varnish, is that I just put too much on too thick too quick, and then it became glossy when it should have been ultra matte. So if I just do gentle layer, it's quite difficult seeing where it's going there. So I've just got to hope that I've got the right sort of layer effect going on, because if you're painting a colour, you can often obviously see exactly where it's going. With the varnish, it's not so easy. You can just about see, because it's such a thin layer that's going on, you can just about see where it's landing. And sometimes you spray a little bit thicker and you can see it because the liquid kind of pools a little bit and you can see reflection from the light, but you don't want it to be going on thick, you want it to be going on thin. And I think it's when it goes on thick and you get that reflection, I think it stays. So you can see under there, you can see a little bit of reflection on basically its butt right here. That is where I've sprayed it on a bit thicker. But on the front here, if I go in nice and thin, that's still going on, but you can't, there's no shine there. It's really difficult to see where you're getting it. So in some ways it's often good to get a glossy finish to start with and then go back over it and matte that down. So maybe that's what I should do, just kind of go on thick to start with. Because that's going to provide me with a protective layer, right? That makes sense in my head. Got a glossy effect here, look. What's going on there? That's not anti-shine. Ugh. Have to go, says Adrian. I'll see you all next week unless you're going to Bovington, in which case I'll see you tomorrow. And I have liked the stream, Mr. Jenkins. Thanks for stopping by, Adrian. We will see you tomorrow. I am going to Bovington. Going to talk more about that in just a little while for the rest of you that are hanging around. See you. Take care. Travel safe. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for stopping by San Diego. That is not tacky, so that is definitely dry, at least for now. So, hit that with a light dusting now. Okay, are my lasers dry yet? They're not. Just gonna sit there with a little bit of just clean air. I love desk. There you go. Just gonna sit there with a little bit of air, no varnish coming out there. Just want to agitate the ink that's inside those lasers, so I can drop a bit of green in there in a minute. That's all I'm gonna do. Okay. Now I'm going to matte varnish. So this is the Easy 8 watching paint dry show. Hope you're having a great time. I think that this type of varnish that I've got is made for perhaps people who are slightly more professional than I am, because maybe they are more patient and do their varnishing in thinner layers. Because I'm almost convinced that the reason that my Ultra Matte has finished with quite a shiny finish is because I'm putting it on thick. So yeah, it's also quite tacky to the touch under there. So let's just, what I'm going to do here is get the branded Drymatic, just to kind of give it a little bit of help in the whole drying up. I love Trident too, by the way. Oh, you killed someone with a trident, beg your pardon, sorry. I love Trident. Such a funny film. One of my favourites. There we go. Okay, I'm now going to go over the top side of this bit here. Gonna get a bit more varnish in there. I think I'm about to run out. There we go. I think the nozzle needs a bit of a clean, or the needle tip needs a bit of a clean, so just going to get some thinner water. Not water that's really thin, but watered down thinner on the end of this cotton bud. And then I just take off the needle tip protector just on the end there. Means it's a bit easier to access, and I can now just clean the needle there. I can see there's little bits of crap just coming off the needle tip. Again, because the varnish is clear, it's actually quite hard to see it building up. As you can see, bits of blue paint somewhere in there. There we go. That should mean it's a bit easier to spray. Yeah, there we go. Exactly that. Oops. Drying slightly inside the paint chamber, probably because it's so dirty in there. So I just quickly shifted the needle backwards and forwards to dislodge anything that was drying, give the needle tip a bit of a clean off again. There we go, getting a much more matte finish on there now. Now that wet glossy layer is dried with the hairdryer, I can go over with a lighter, drier sort of layer. It's weird, it almost dries with a satin varnish finish. It's really, I think it's just like an elite varnish. Only 6 thumbs up and watching, just saying. Why is my one not working? 11 watching. I don't know what you mean. Steve's got to go because apparently it's tea time. Good vibes to everyone, apart from those who didn't like the video. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for coming along, man. See you soon. Take it easy, pal. Thanks for thanks for getting everyone to like the video. Okay, I'm done. Apart from getting some green in those lasers, that is literally it now. I'm just quickly going to put a little bit of cleaner through the airbrush and is going to get that sat inside the paint chamber there. Let's flush that through. Excellent. Let's get the purge tank. And I'm going to stick a bit of water through there. Kez says, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but I have to refresh the screen to get the thumbs up number to update. Ah, okay, there you go. Maybe that's what it needs you to do. I appreciate you doing that, by the way. So, thanks. Bit of water. You can always see by how fast the hopper here empties. If you just put in water in there, it tells you like if it's really badly blocked. If it starts to bubble, it's got like a little bit of stuff backing up in there. But you can tell that's draining pretty quickly. So if there is a blockage in there, it's really minor, despite how dirty it is. But that doesn't mean it can't get out of hand quite quickly. So, just going to pop the water over there. Again, I'm just going to pop a couple of drops of this water and thinner in there. And what I like to do is just fire off a couple of times, like that. And now I know that there's thinner sitting inside the paint chamber. So I'll just pop it there like that. It's out of the way for a moment. Yay for me. Let's get rid of that paint sheet. Okie dokie. So we need a bit of green in there. It's dried. Excellent. So I'm going to avoid that little area where the paint went funny. Let's move over here. Get a bit of scorpion green or escorpina green. Verde escorpina. My Spanish is wonderful. Bit of a hand waz. Bit of green in the palette. And now a little bit of thinner. And essentially, I'm making an ink, I suppose, aren't I? By thinning that right down. A little bit of a glaze. Okay, tiny brush. Pick up as much as I can in the bristles of my tiny little brush, and now I'm just going to drop it in there. Run it around all over on the inside. There we go. Make sure there's no white left over. I don't want there to be any white in there. So wherever the white is, I want the green to go over it because it will just look like a little lighting effect in there basically. That's what that is. Like that. Just make sure it's nice and subtle. I don't want it to be too much. So it's kind of rolling around on the inside. So I could just go in it just with a slightly dry brush. Just use the bristles to pick some of that excess out. And I like it to be a lighter dot in the middle, so where the white ink is sitting, just try and wipe it down a little bit so the white kind of shows through. Just makes it look like a brighter or a hotter spot. There we go. Ooh. Just gonna put that cap on there. Just gonna put that cap on there. Pop that over there. Ladies and gentlemen, live on the show here at Easy 8 Online Painting Club, I have completed a miniature. Round of applause, thank you, please. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, a moment of silence for the victory. I did it! Many fanfares, many fanfares. Thank you so much for following me along on this painting journey. Yeah, Table of Horrors claps. Yeah, so thanks Kez for buying or making this model for me. I really appreciate it. It was like really, really kind of you to do so. It's going to sit proud pride of place, right in front of me. There's a shelf just up here that if you've been in the studio, because a few of you guys are friends and have been here, it's going to be right there, right in front of me, so every time I come in I can see it. Yeah, I'm well happy with that. I'm going to keep an eye on its shininess. Obviously that varnish is a little bit weird, isn't it? So if it looks a bit shiny, I can hit it with another varnish. I might buy myself a different type of varnish. I just think that this is not for me. Yeah, I don't think it's for someone of my level. I've got this feeling it's for people who are much more advanced, or maybe it's for varnishing canvases or something. But it still doesn't tell me why ultra matte goes on glossy. It's weird, right? It says here permanent and very resistant, dries to the touch in 1 hour. For application of 2 coats of varnish, we recommend an interval of 24 hours. Can be used directly with brush or airbrush of needle size 0.4 millimeters without dilution. Clean up with soap and water. That is literally all it says. Shake well. Maybe that's where I went wrong. Maybe it does need to be shaken. I thought that there's no pigment in there. Maybe it doesn't need to be shook. So maybe that's it. But that's for another time. I wanted to go over just a couple of last things with you before I disappear, because that's not everything. I'm glad I got that done. That's finished now. Project is over. While I was in the Plymouth show, I also picked up a little box of Tyranids. Grant from Overlords gave me a little cardboard box because I got this from the Bring and Buy. The Bring and Buy didn't have any cardboard boxes. So can I open it? Here we go. So I can't help myself, can I? I've always got to buy some sort of a Tyranid. With the recent release of all the new Tyranid stuff, like with Leviathan, they brought out some new creatures. These are painted badly by somebody else who sold them for a smaller fee than what they normally are. These are, you get 3 of them. These are the Von Ryan Leapers. Ryan Leapers were mentioned as an alien type that wasn't necessarily a Tyranid form in a codex versions and versions ago. We're talking like around 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th or something like that. They are mentioned as a creature on a Deathworld planet, which has like particularly harsh flora and fauna and whatever. Catachan, for example, the jungle world of Catachan is a Deathworld, and it has nasty creatures. But part of the discussion in that codex was, is it a vestigial Tyranid life form from, a splinter fleet that dropped something off and it just kind of became a rogue animal on that planet? Well, the short answer is yes, they've turned it into a Tyranid form, because why not, right? It is somewhere between a Lictor and a Hormigaunt, and I really like them. They are basically like little mini Lictors, and you get 3 of them. They've got these really cool like feeder tendrils on their mouths. They've got the really cool and iconic sort of praying mantis claws. They've got some really nice little scything talons. I like the fact that they're kind of almost upright. And you've got 3 of them, and they're all quite unique and individual. They've got like different heads. I've got the hiccups again, weird. They've got some unique little bits on their bases, which I quite like as well. Yeah, these guys are going to go straight into a bath of alcohol, 99% IPA, so that it will take all the colour off of them, and then they'll get base coated yellow, and there'll be a project for a little bit later on down the line. I just wanted them, I saw them, they were still quite pricey, but way cheaper than what you do if you buy them out of the box, and I thought, well, heck to it. I've gone to a show, I'm going to buy myself something. So those are my Von Ryan Leapers, really hard to say, or VRLs, or mini Lictors. I just love them. A Lictor Gaunt, I love that, yeah. There's Mike saying, woo, bring on ED209. Not just yet, we have still got a lot of work on ED209. ED209 is right here. Do you know what, let's zoom out a little bit, because I'm starting to get some bigger projects going. Where is my zoom? Hey zoom out, thanks. So this is my Ed 209. There's a lot of sculpting work going on the inside. So once this head's all kind of cleaned up, then I need to fill all these really big gaps, as you can see around here. There's a lot of work to go in on Ed yet. I'm really excited to get to him. But before him, the project number 2, because I was doing 3 at the same time, now I'm just doing 2 at the same time, will be my giant Dark Angel. So yeah, moving into projects larger now. So I might even have to bring my my camera up a little bit. But yeah, that's an exciting thing, right? So Von Ryan Leapers, they're going to go on the shelf in the queue waiting, I think, with a few other bits and pieces. I've also got these little tones. I bought Sepia Tone because I wanted to compare it to the Citadel version. I used the Seraphim Sepia, which is this one here. You can see that there is a big difference between the two, so I just wanted to see how it compares. Probably very useful on all my yellows, maybe on faces and things like that. Let's give it a shake. Got a little agitated ball in there, I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, it's changing, but still, this is kind of ready, isn't it? Yeah, so I want to see how the two compare. I just thought it'd be fun to do. I got the magenta tone because I like to use, if I can find it quick enough. I can't find it quick at all. Where's it gone? Well, I like to use a crimson shade with the Citadel washes. Can't find it. It's there somewhere, right? Come on, one last little look. There it is, found it. Carabao Crimson. I really like this colour. It's a really nice shade, and I use it where I want to make things look a little bit more pinky or reddier. I use it on brains, so my zone threats, if you use it on brains, I use it in all the joints on the Tyranids because it just kind of, it has a little pinky tone to them. It's subtle and not too powerful, and I like it. If you add a couple of layers, you really strengthen that colour up. I've tried putting it on wings on my gargoyles. Have I got one here to show you? So on the gargoyle wings, they've got little holes and tears in them. I like to paint those with sepia colour. So a couple of layers of that, you can see it's got like a leathery colour. And I like to just kind of make them look like they're sore or injured, or like there's blood around them, like internally, if that makes sense, just to kind of bring a little bit of attention to them. But if you apply it by brush, which is the preferred method with it, it leaves a coffee stain. No matter what I do, how I do it, I cannot stop it from leaving a coffee stain. I've tried different ways of applying it, different mediums to put in it, and I just cannot stop it from doing it, which is a shame because I love the colour. So I thought, well, it is essentially a magenta tone. It's much more purplier because it's magenta, not crimson. But I thought, well, do you know what? I want to give it a go. It was a couple of quid for these, but I bought them from Grant, and then I bought this Power Node Glow. The idea is it's got a transparency to it that makes things look, like glowy. So I thought, do you know what? It's just, what a colour. Cray. Look at it. The camera doesn't even know what to do with it. It's insane. It's so neon. But it is a technical paint. It's not just a colour. It is, like I say, it's got a layer of like a level of transparency to it. So just a bit of fun really with that one. And the paints that I bought from Callum at Steampunk and Alchemy, or Alchemy and Steampunk? Steam and Alchemy, beg your pardon, over at Imperator Models, were these two colours. This is the bluest blue that I have ever laid my blue eyes upon. Yes, I have blue eyes. It is, what is the name of this one here? Brilliant Cyan Eyes. It is so intensely blue, it hurts my soul, and I love it. And I just said to Callum, I have to have that. I don't know what I'm going to use it on, but I want to have a go with it. And he said, well, if you like that colour, try this one as well. This one here is the reddest red I've ever laid my eyes upon. It's called 100% Demonic Red. Like I say, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I just wanted to have a go. Yeah, absolutely fantastic, and mixed by Callum's own hands. Well, I don't know if they're mixed by him, but he made them anyway, and he decanted them and everything. So yes, those are the things that I bought. Oh, the music ended right at the same time as that poignant moment. So I finished a model. It's exciting, isn't it? Let's come away from here. Lictorgaunt, I love that. Scorpions are brown. They are brown. I think that the Scorpion Green comes from Eldar. So in 40k, the Eldar, they have the striking scorpions. They are commonly painted this green colour, and I think that's where it comes from, Scorpion Green. You're absolutely right. It could be a brown scorpion that is sick, but I think that's where that comes from. So, well, there you go. The more you know, right? Thank you very much for coming on this journey with me and seeing me paint a model from start to finish. Could I have done it better? Yes. Do I say that with almost all of my models? Yeah.
Did I rush it in a few places? Almost certainly, yes. Does it look really good? I like it. It's fun. That green really stands out now. The cockpit looks really good. It's a really contrasting colour against the turquoises and the blues and the greys or whatever. It's really cool. And you'll sit pride of place on the top of my shelf. Thank you ever so much. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome, Shiv. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to be heading on straight on over to Discord after the show. I've got a lot of cleaning to do in the airbrush, quite clearly. I think I might put my lictor gaunts in, my mini lictors in for an IPA bath, so we can start the stripping process and giggity goo. I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up because I've got paints all over the place up here. Yeah, and start prepping up for the next project, my giant dark angel. That is going to be extremely experimental. I don't know what's happening, you know, what to expect from that. Again, just have some fun, paint some stuff, right? That's kind of the whole point. So yeah. For those of you that have subscribed already, thank you so much. The number goes up almost every couple of days, and I really like that. That means that Easy 8 is being shared, it is being, you know, it is being viewed. People are enjoying it, they're coming along, and hopefully sticking around. We are just a shy bit away from 250 at the moment. We are currently at 239. What a number! Never thought we'd go above 50. So thank you so much, Hormictor. I don't know how that rolls off the tongue. It's not so well. Thanks for having us, says Brevin. You are more than welcome. Thank you for keeping me company while I paint my models, because that's what it's like on this side of the camera. For you, I provide you with an online painting club, and you go, okay, this is a great 2 hours for me to paint my models. You are providing me with the means to do the same, so thank you for having me. Anyway, I'm going to be over on Discord almost immediately after the show. Going to go check on the cats. If you are interested, myself and the EasyGate team are heading to the Tank Museum in Dorset, Bovington Tank Museum tomorrow, because you have the Southwest Model Show on there for both days, Saturday and Sunday. We love going there because there are the tanks, and then there are model tanks that are modelled on the tanks, and we like to go there, look at them, touch them, and then talk to the people who have painted the models, and all the associates in clubs and whatever that all kind of get together. Just a wicked time. I'm meeting up with all the traders that are going to be there, the friends that we've made along the way. I just love going to the museum. So I'm the taxi driver tomorrow, so I'm going to have just one more of these and then call it a night after that. So thank you very much for coming along. Subscribe, like the video, follow us on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, come and join me over at Discord. Links to all of our platforms down there. Please go and check out all the links for all the cool people, businesses, services, etc. That I've met along the way. You'll meet them down there. Go and check them all out. And that is it for me this week. Thank you very much for this evening, and until next week, thanks a lot. I might be there. Stop it. No licking of the tanks, though. They frown at it. They do. Such spoil sports. How dare they? Definitely going to go and take a towel so I can lick all the tanks. The big ones, not people's models. Gross. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, get some colour on your grey, and I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye. Lictor gaunts. Love it. Mini lictors.